Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tea and Chat. I'm Sharis Alldredge, and this is my sister wife, Vanessa.
Hi.
Today we're drinking a black tea called Portland Blend, and it's from Stash. It has like cocoa nibs and blue cornflower, some raspberry, some rose. Very warm. Kind of gives off a subtle hot chocolate vibe, which is perfect for today.
Yeah. Subtle is right. It's definitely not hot chocolate, but you can taste those cocoa nibs, and it's really quite a pleasant experience on a day like today where we've got this delightfully cozy, drizzly, rainy, my favorite kind of weather day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Got candles and a blanket. It's just kind of goes with this vibe very well.
It's perfection. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this tea. Today we thought we would share with you some tips and ideas on how to really get the maximum amount of time and value out of your time with your husband, if it's limited. Obviously, Sharis and I share the same husband, and so I don't have all of his evenings to myself. He shares his time with another wife. Mm-hmm. But that is not limited to polygamous families. There's going to be any number of things that will come in the way of the time that you would like to spend with your husband, whether that be work or school or just responsibilities.
Yeah, extended family, career.
Oh, yeah, yes. I mean, there's so many things. And so I think this set of discussions will be helpful probably to any woman out there. I think it applies across the board. The first thing that I would say is probably of the most vital importance is being present in the moment. Mm-hmm. When you do have limited time, or even if you don't, if you have that time that you're trying to nurture your relationship and build it, then you need to be present in that moment. So what does that mean? Set aside your phone. Stop scrolling. It might require some preparations beforehand. It's really difficult to shift gears from being mother, caretaker, into just being present and relaxed and there with your husband. And so I would suggest, take a moment to plan ahead in your day. Do you need to get the kids settled? Get the kids settled. Do you need to, if you feel like you need a moment to decompress, which I know I do, then schedule yourself, we got 15 minutes, 20 minutes here to I'm going to scroll without guilt for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take a book, or I'm just going to be by myself because I haven't had a moment. Even my kids follow me to the bathroom.
Yes.
Can you find a way to have that moment to yourself, decompress from the day, so that in your moment with your husband, you
can prioritize that relationship.
Right. You can be there to connect rather than just trying to oh my gosh, it's been such a day. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can do that together. Whatever floats your boat. But just as long as you're aware of that and that you take the steps necessary to just be there in the moment. And, being there in that together, there's so much you can get out of even 5 minutes of intentional time of talking, connecting, and setting aside your distractions than you would get from 2 hours of tandem scrolling where you're both reading a book or scrolling on your phone, wasting your time. You're together, but are you connecting?
Yeah. No, I think that's a really important distinction. Just because you're in the same proximity doesn't mean you're connecting.
Yeah. And that does require intentionality.
Yeah, focus.
Yes. And like I said earlier, it does take some advanced planning. What do you need in the day so that when you have your moment, whether it's a lunch date or an evening together, what can you do to make sure that you can get the most value out of your time with your husband? What kind of distractions do you know typically come up? And how can you attend to them beforehand so that you know that, okay, I've minimized what's going to happen? Do the kids all have drinks of water?
Have they all been to the bathroom 3 or 4 times?
Checked their closets for monsters?
All
whatever it is.
All the things.
Yes. So I think that for me has been one of the most helpful things. And it allows me to connect with my husband and for him to connect with me. This isn't just about, let me serve him while he's here. It's self-serving as well.
Yeah.
We get something out of this, and it serves our needs too.
Yeah, and it's important for us to find that connection and have these moments in our relationship. But it's also important for our husbands to see, it just means so much to them when we prioritize them and set aside the daily distractions of life and just focus on connection and building a relationship.
Right.
It doesn't take long, and it means so much to our guys.
Yeah. And the reality is, I can guarantee you, he wants to spend time with you too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are his wife. He loves you. And he needs that connection from you. He needs that attention to this thing that you're creating together. And so, especially if you have time restrictions or limitations, then it's all the more important to prioritize that and create value in those limited situations that you have. That leads me to kind of the second idea, and that is you need to make time to have difficult conversations. It's not wonderful when you feel like, okay, you've got some time together, and it's very common. You get together and then you've got to talk about things, and it's like, oh, this thing's been bothering me in the day, and then you know, a lot of times you've got to talk about them. Mm-hmm. But if you feel like maybe tonight you're talking about things that are frustrating and that kind of they're challenging, and so and maybe you do that several nights in a row, and you just feel like every time we're together we just argue, or we just
talk about difficult things.
Yeah, we're always stressed out. And a way to help alleviate that would be to schedule time to have those discussions on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like Sharis and I, we schedule our women's meeting where we talk about everything from the running of the home to any challenges that we might face. And the same can be helpful with your husband. You know, if you know that there is a time to talk about things that you would like to address, then you don't have to feel like in the moment you always have to carry it with you and wait till you get that moment. You'll finally have his attention.
Yeah, you can. There'll be a time and a place for it. Set it aside, write it down,
mm-hmm.
and then wait for that appropriate time. It doesn't have to, because I understand what you're saying. Sometimes when you feel like your time with him is so restricted, it's like, hey, I finally have a few moments. We should connect after we talk about this.
Oh, and that's important.
And then it sets this mood, and like you said, several nights in a row of that, and it's like, okay. This is just tiring.
Yeah. So, and that is, like we said, it is important to have those discussions. You can't just ignore it. That is not healthy. But if you make time for that isn't necessarily that it's scheduled in, so that it doesn't have to infringe on the time, because there's a time to address problems and then there's a time to create bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they overlap, but you really don't want them to always overlap, because sometimes you just have to set aside the stressors and know that, okay, well, on Tuesday, that's when we discuss these things and try to figure out these problems. But for today, I don't have to bring it up. I know there's time for that later. Today, I'm just going to build that bond. We're going to just enjoy each other's presence.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know some people that I know really don't like this analogy that relationships are like bank accounts. You have to make deposits before you can make a withdrawal. And I have my issues with it, but I do see the points that they're making. Mm-hmm. And if every time you're together it's a constant withdrawal, that's not a good idea. So you need to set aside time to make deposits, to build a bond, to connect, so that your relationship can handle those moments where you have to sit down, you have to talk about the difficult. But it requires some healing moments, some connection, some connecting moments as well.
Yeah. It really is about balance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you do have to do the hard things, but you have to balance that out with enjoying each other's company and connecting on that friendship level that is so important. And so, yes, both of those two things that we've talked about require some advanced planning, some forethought, some making room for it. And then the third thing that I want to bring up is kind of if you've done those things, then you can find ways to enjoy each other's company. Find something that you enjoy together, whether that's reading a book together. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have your intimate time that is vital important as well. Or it could be watching a movie or something that you look forward to each time you're together.
Yeah.
And that it promotes those feelings of enjoyment and connection. You could, if you're like to talk like me, you could have conversation starters. Like, the lists are endless on ways to connect, but I think first you need to make sure that you create the time, that you set the intention, that you make time for the difficulty, and then you make time for the pleasant, and then figure out what you like to do.
Yeah.
Find out what your husband's likes are, and maybe find something you like together. Surely there's enough of that. If you chose to marry each other, you've got things in common. I enjoy reading books or going for walks or, the list is endless. It's really dependent upon your personalities. But as long as you find those things that you look forward to and that you can enjoy together, that continues to create those bonds, and that you have discussions that aren't about just the hard things, that are about the good things, that produce a greater, deeper connection.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I would strongly recommend, if this applies to you, is to set aside time to pray together as spouses. Mm-hmm. Jeff and I try to do that every evening, whether he's just in my room to say goodnight before he goes to Vanessa's room, or whether he's sleeping with me that night. We try to prioritize. We try to prioritize, bringing God into our relationship, and I feel like that's very important as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, these things are incredibly important. You have that connection with God, and praying together really is a very intimate and beautiful thing. And if that's something you're inclined to do, I would encourage you to do it routinely, do it daily.
Yeah.
And that too will deepen your bond and help you stay together on the same path, and it would be very helpful.
Yeah, I think so.
So, those are our main thoughts. I know that they've been very helpful for us over the years, and honestly, you're going to go through phases where sometimes you got it figured out, you got it dialed in, and then other times it's just like you can't quite figure it out. There's just so many distractions or new things that arise.
So much to talk about.
Yeah. And so it's never going to be like perfect, but as long as you're aware of those things and you seek to create an environment that you can get your needs met, then that's what it's about. And so, as with life, always just roll with it, do the best you can in the moment, and adapt to the needs of each season. And you'll find yourself in a good spot, I'm sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any thoughts or questions, then please leave them in the comments below.
Or any suggestions of what things that you have found helpful, ways to take advantage of your time with your husband.
Yeah.
Share them with us. Yeah,
and if there's anything that you'd like to hear our perspective about as sister wives, then please do share so that we can see what we can do, because we would love your guys' feedback and your input. We really appreciate you being here.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.